Hello, everybody. Suzanne Kellner-Zinck with Donna Vision's Hypnosis here to talk about a really important subject, which is maybe the psych profession got it all wrong. I've been doing this work for decades, and I'm currently in a doctoral program for psychology, which I'm probably going to stop being a part of because I don't believe in anything that they teach, like none of it. And that's not really a big shock, to tell you the honest truth, because you're told when you get a diagnosis that you have to be on medications in too many cases, or perhaps you've heard too many, shall we say, advertisements on TV. They're all over the place in the United States for psych drugs, so that you can take a pill to take care of the problem, except that these pills can be very toxic to a person, especially when they're put on them, and it's very hard to get psychiatrists or whoever is prescribing them to help you get off them, especially some of the antipsychotics and barbiturates. So we have to be really thoughtful in terms of how we think about how we work with people who have emotional problems, because a lot of these emotional looking problems aren't even emotional. They're physiological. And do you think that any of this is taught to the people who study psychologists, that maybe this thing called hormones might be causing the problems? I mean, have you ever heard of someone who's had menopause, perimenopause, premenstrual syndrome, thyroid problems, adrenal problems, and on it goes? We're getting more and more news about low testosterone levels in the younger males today for whatever reason. None of this is good, because our hormones run our bodies. They're really important. And that includes emotional regulation and thought processes. And then we have other people who have problems with metabolizing their food. I was watching a really interesting YouTube video by a guy who I started learning from, actually, when I first got into hypnosis in the 2000s. He was doing a book tour on a book that he had just written on using nutrition to heal anorexics. He's written several books of this type for different mental illnesses, helping people to get rid of them through nutrition, which is a very viable thing when you think about how bad the nutrition is in America. One of the reasons I don't live there. I live in Albania, where the food is really good. So that's another thing. But even if we are thinking about working with people who have emotional problems, talking about them endlessly just makes them worse. So often people will tell me, or write in core or wherever, wondering why they feel worse after they do their psych appointments. And the reason is because they're talking to you in your conscious mind. That's known as the prefrontal cortex. We know this from the brain scans that have been done in the last 10, 15 years. And that's where your executive functions operate. It's where you reason, rationalize, and judge things. And if you're busy reasoning, rationalizing, and judging things, it makes it really hard to actually take the advice of your therapist if they are giving you good ideas in terms of how to help yourself. But it's not going to help you get rid of the problems. It just manages symptoms. And my work has never been about merely managing symptoms. That's not a life worth living. It's like the 12-step programs telling alcoholics and drug addicts and sex addicts that they have to be addicts for the rest of their life. And I'm here to tell you that's not true, because I've helped many of these folks end these problems for 20 or more years at this point. So obviously that's not true. What they are doing is they're brainwashing, i.e. hypnotizing these people into believing that they need to be addicts for the rest of the years because, well, that's the technology they had in the 1930s when AA was developed. It's totally outdated. Let us put it that way. Although, to tell you the truth, hypnotism actually goes back to the 1700s, which is when we learned how to help the neurotics, which were known as the females of the population, always the men, talking about females and their issues. But it's true. They're able to help people to let go of a lot of problems that the doctors of the time had no clue how to help people heal. So I'm just going to put it out there that you can overcome many of these problems. Now, I cannot help someone have fewer psychotic events, and I'm not able to help people with full-blown personality disorders, although I have helped a few people with some of the symptoms of personality disorder overcome their problems. One of them, a very happy, I don't know, he's in his mid-70s now, but when he contacted me after reading an answer to a question that I had written on Quora, a forum where people can ask and answer questions on pretty much any subject. He told me that he thought he was a narcissist, but he wasn't. Yes, he did like to talk a lot about himself. Yes, he did have some braggadocious, or however you pronounce that word, things to say. But he actually is a really good storyteller, and he was able to be healed. And several years later, I had posted a video on my Facebook page for anorexics, and he was kind enough to add a comment, including a photo showing that he had dropped 80 pounds. And he was doing so much better, and he was making friends, which is the reason that he wanted to do work with me in the first place. And let it be known, it was 3 sessions we did together, 3 hours each. That was it, done. That's what can happen if you actually work with someone who knows what they're doing. So I'm here to tell you that there are answers. There are ways to heal for most of the folks, probably 95% of the people who are interested in getting healing done. And it's not going to be through your insurance companies paying psychiatrists and psychologists to help you. They don't have the tools. They've not learned them. I wish they would. It's a mission of mine to teach them. But they seem to be stuck in this, I don't know, indoctrinated state of believing in these ridiculous theories that have proven to not work. Because they had been proven to work, we wouldn't have people dying from suicide, having medical doctors suicide themselves because they're really unhappy and they won't get help from the mental health field. Because if the medical boards find out that they're getting mental health treatment, especially for depression, they might lose their licenses. It's a very crazy system. It makes no sense. How can you hope to help people if you're not even able to get help for yourself? It's so crazy. So I'm just here to point out the lunacy that I see in the medical world and the world of psychology, and to give you a different opportunity to help yourself. And yes, my services do cost money. Yes, you pay for them out of pocket. And yes, we talk about that after you do a free consultation call. All that information is in the part below. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, you know what I mean, with all the notes. And I left my calendar there so you can book a video call with me and we can make that happen. Because I'm here to help people heal. I'm not here to help people continue to be sick and manage symptoms. Because that's an old, ridiculous way of trying to help anyone with anything. People want to be done with their negative symptoms, and rightfully so. And have one of my more beautiful clients, his mother, an adopted mother at that, had said when she brought her son in to see me, all I want is for my son to have a normal teenager life. That's all. And I'm here to tell you, he's a grown man now. He's raising his own kids. He has his own business, and he's doing very well because his parents understood there was an option other than a locked unit with a family therapist, so-called, who didn't have the ability to help herself, never mind anybody else. True story. Anyway, as always, I thank you for spending your time with me. Till next time, and I hope that those of you who are really feeling stuck with anxiety and depression, OCD, and these kinds of things, reach out for some help, because I'm here to help you. It's what I do. I love it. It's fun, but I'm only here to work with people who are ready to heal now, and the people who are willing to invest in their health and their healing, both with time and money. Although I'll grant you, it's a hell of a lot less time than the traditional ways. Bye-bye, y'all.